Police officers have been removed from patrol after video showed them pepper spraying a 9-year-old handcuffed girl. We want to warn you, the video is tough to watch.
No, you said that you were going to pepper spray me. No, please, no, stop. Sit back. Oh, I got a bag.
This sprayer. Not here.
Stop. Sit back.
I got her. I got her.
The incident began with a parent telling officers the girl had threatened to harm herself and others. At one point, an officer told the girl she was acting like a child. She replied, "I am a child." Police say they pepper sprayed her after she refused to
That's the
listen
woman
to
that pepper
commands
sprayed her.
and kicked an officer. As you can imagine, the incident has led to an outcry, including a march to a Rochester police precinct by protesters yesterday. One officer has been suspended and 2 others are now on leave. The girl was taken to the hospital and then released to her parents.
You know, you said the video would be disturbing. I'm not even quite sure what I'm looking at there. I just know that you can hear the girl clearly in distress. And I know there are 2 sides to every story. We're always raised that way. But I can't imagine any circumstance that a grown-ass man can't control a 9-year-old girl who is not armed. I don't understand what happened there.
Pictures are awful. I think there's also a third side to it, which is police don't want to be in that situation.
Exactly.
If you have mental health workers there, then the police can take a back seat.
Yeah, that's what we've been talking about.
We've been talking about it a lot.
Yeah, and you just don't, I mean, it's why are you pepper spraying a 9-year-old girl?
No,
it's just, how does it get to that?
There's more to this story.
It's sad. What we saw was sad. I mean, I don't even know. I don't even know what you I don't know what you do with that. I'm trying, let me get some raw footage. Let's go with
You're gonna be
Florida's.
fine. Stop.
I want my dad. I'm not getting in no car until I see my dad.
Here, just stop for a second.
I want my dad.
Control 47. I'm in.
I want my dad. No.
Stop.
So, let me pull up an article real quick just to get some context here. So, this kid, a child, let's get it from NPR. So, let me tell you about the story first, before I get into my opinion. Rochester, New York police officers involved in restraining and pepper spraying a 9-year-old girl last Friday. Back on the 29th. Rochester, New York police officers involved in restraining and pepper spraying a 9-year-old girl last Friday were suspended 2 days ago, by order of Mayor Lovely Warren, quote, at a minimum, quote, until the conclusion of an internal police investigation. Quote, unfortunately, state law and union contract prevents me from taking more immediate and serious action, end quote, Warren said in a statement. The decisions come after city officials released police body camera footage showing the encounter between the officers and the girl. Officials say that the police were responding to a family disturbance and that the girl was suicidal and upset. They said the officers detained a minor to assist her, and then they were trying to get her to moving fully inside a police vehicle. The video, released Saturday, shows the girl crying and begging for her father. Officials have not identified the girl. The number of officers suspended and their names have not been released. The incident renewed scrutiny on the city and its police department following the death of Daniel Prude, a black man with a history of mental illness who died of asphyxiation after an encounter with officers back in March of last year. Details of Prue's death were not made public until months later, leading to protests in the city. Several members of Rochester Police Department command staff were terminated or left the department. Quote, I'm not going to stand here and tell you that for a 9-year-old to be pepper sprayed is okay. It's not, end quote. Interim Police Chief Cynthia Harriet Sullivan said at a Saturday afternoon press conference. She vowed, news conference, she vowed to continue to do the work to implement reform within the department to ensure incidents like this do not happen in the future. Um, and you see, it's sad, honestly. So, I warn you, if you are weak of heart and you didn't see the earlier clip, this might be disturbing. This will be disturbing.
Stop! Oh my God!
Stop, dude. Just relax.
Okay.
You
Wait, my
done?
mom, she's pregnant.
Are you done?
My mom
Are you done?
pregnant. Oh yes, please don't
Stop.
let me go. I want my dad.
Stop.
Please.
You good?
Give me
Good
a
work,
break.
son.
I want.
I know.
For us, sir. Bob's still trying to fight.
Ma'am, hey, get out of the street for me. Get out of the street. Get out of the street for me. Just stand out of the street.
I want my dad. I want my dad. I want my dad.
It might be easier this.
I want my dad.
I got one car out here.
I want my dad. I want
You
my
gotta stop
dad.
and take a breath. You're all right.
Stop.
Can I just see my dad, please? I want my dad. Wait, can I just please get the snow off of me?
I'll get the snow off
It
you.
is cold.
In the car.
You've had your chance.
Get in the car now.
Okay?
Okay?
You've had your chances.
I want
What
my
are you doing?
I want
What are
my
you
dad.
doing?
I want
Because you're
my
going to go to jail now, too.
I want my
Have a
dad.
seat,
Wait,
dear.
I just want to see my dad, please. For the last time.
Get
I
in the
want
car.
my dad.
Get in the car.
I demand
I don't care what you demand. Let's go.
She's got her leg underneath my car.
Stop! I want my dad! I want my dad!
Stop or you're going to get yourself hurt.
Stop! He's hurting me! I want to... Oh my God!
Then get in the car.
Please help somebody! No!
I can't find your dad until you sit back and I can close the door, okay? I will find your dad, so sit back. I promise. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Don't look anywhere else. I
Get in
promise.
the car.
Okay?
I'm done telling you. Get
This
in
is
the
it.
car.
This is it, hon. Okay?
Get back in the car
You
then.
gotta sit back.
Too hard.
He won't do it if you sit back. Come on.
What the heck am I doing?
We'll fix him once you sit in the car. Come on.
I want my dad!
Come on. I'm gonna pay for you and I don't want to. So sit back. Then sit back. Come on.
I want my
This is your last chance. Otherwise, pepper spray's going in your eyeballs. Come on, let's go.
Sorry, just keep me safe for a minute.
Come on.
I want my dad!
Come on. I'm gonna go get him. Now sit back. Come on. I will fix it. I will fix it.
If we need to, why don't we separate now, Star?
Let's just sit back.
I want to see my dad!
Come on. Please sit back. Sit back. Come on. Put your legs in there. It's your last chance.
I want my
Last chance. I'm going to go get your dad.
I want my dad!
Come on.
I want to call him!
I will call him. Sit back. Come on. They are losing their patience. Okay?
I want my
Come on.
I want my dad!
Come on. Good job. Come on. You're almost there. Come on.
I want my
Come on.
dad!
Use that
What's
to
her
sit
name?
back. I don't know her name. What's her
Bradstreet, what's her name?
Sit back.
Dear, why, you just stop for a second and take a deep breath. Hey, just stop.
Please. I will get your dad.
No,
Otherwise,
you said that you were gonna pepper spray me. No, please, no, stop!
sit back.
Ah, I got a bad arm.
Just spray her.
I do not know I have
Just
a bad
spray her at this
arm.
point.
Stop!
Dear,
Stop!
I got her. I
I'm
got
gonna
her.
pepper. Please wipe my eye. Wipe my eye
You saw what I saw. I have never been so.
You're gonna be fine.
I've never been
No car till I see my
so
Just stop for a
pissed off in my life about someone that I don't even know. Let's just forget. Let's remind ourselves the fact that the kid is 9. 9. The kid is 9. She's 9. And I know that you're like, well, why are you repeating that? Well, look at what they're doing to her. Now, of course, the call was that she might hurt herself or others. And I understand the danger of the situation. But you heard her the entire time. She just wanted her father. Now, I don't know if she's face down or face up on the snow, but like at this point, you have her in handcuffs, which I think is a little much, but you have her in handcuffs. At least get her to stand up and talk about this. All she wanted was her dad. You could have called her dad. Once you had her in handcuffs, you could have called her. There could have been a stop right there, and you could have called your father and could have put her in handcuffs or put her in, put her in the car afterwards or bring her to her house. But they're treating this child like they're an adult. And I want to go back because,
I promise. Look at me.
like,
Look at me.
Ma'am, hey, get out of the street for me. Get out of the street.
forget about the person in the street.
Just stand out of the street.
Why is there 1, 2, 3 different officers at one point? There was a fourth car that comes in, or a car that comes in, so it's either 4 or 5 more, or so. There's this, that guy, the woman, another cop.
I want my dad. Wait, can I just please get the snow off of me?
I'll get the snow off
It
you.
is cold.
You've had your chance.
Get in the car now.
Okay?
Okay?
You've had your chance.
Yelling at her like this, is horrible. Like, eh, she's fucking 9. I don't even, I can't even grasp the idea of someone just sitting there saying, you know what? I don't care how old she is. She's still acting stupid. Let's cuff her, put her in a car. Oh, she's not acting right? Let's go ahead and fucking mace her. Or pepper spray. Like, at what point do you think to yourself, well, I probably shouldn't do that? I mean, talk to her. Clearly, she wanted her dad. Clearly, all the attention that she was getting, she wanted something. She didn't know how else to communicate what she wanted, so she went to the most extreme option. In her brain, if I say I'm going to kill myself or someone else, yes, it's an extreme measure, but it's her trying to get the thing that she wants, which was clearly, I want my dad. And you look at this response, and I'm trying to figure out the logic behind this. You have her in handcuffs. At this point, you can stop, call the father, Ask the girl, do you know the father's number? I'm sure the relatives were around. Ask the relatives, do you know how to get in contact with the father? She wants to get in contact with the father. Like, she's begging for a parent to be out here. Because she looks at you as cops and see you as intimidating. I'm sorry, but her brain is not matured enough to know, oh shit, I should probably just chill out. All she's thinking is, I want my dad, I want my dad, I want my dad. By the way, I don't know if I said this enough times, but I want my fucking father. Like, you look at this and you think to yourself, at what point, at what point do you just sit here and realize that this shit is unacceptable?
Get in the car. I don't care what you demand. Let's go. She's got her leg underneath my car.
Listen to them. Listen to how violent they're acting. Like, she's not a fucking adult.
Then get in the car.
There's another cop car. So there's at least 3 cop cars.
Close the door, okay? I will find your dad, so sit back. I promise.
She's already sitting.
Look at me.
That's the thing. At this point, she's sitting down. She's crying. She wants her father. Like, I get it. I'm going to stop here and tell you, I get it. Being a cop is hard. Being a cop is absolutely hard. And I fucking get it. It's hard. And yes, I've never been a cop before. But damn it, you gotta have logic at some point. You have her sitting down. She's sitting down at this point. Forget the fact that the door is open. She's sitting down. Have a cop keep an eye on her. Have another call the father. That's what she's asking for. She's not a fucking terrorist asking for a fucking Air Force One to come to their compound so they can fly and take more hostages with them. She just wants her dad. She's having a mental health crisis and she wants someone there for her. And clearly, if she wants her dad, then clearly the dad is probably the one that can help calm the child down. Instead, these complete strangers that are surrounding me want me in this cold, hard car with these things shackled to my arms. Think about how the child is thinking at this point. Like, I don't get it. Like,
I promise.
she's sitting at this point. That right there should not have been a threat. The threat of pepper spray should not have been a threat. At no point should you have said, I'm going to fucking pepper spray you, you 9-year-old child. Like that, at no point should that have been a threat to this child. She did, the worst thing she did was threaten her life or someone else's. Which, yes, is absolutely bad. But she doesn't know how else to seek attention at this point. What other mental health issues is she going through? Did y'all even think to talk about that? Like, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 cops at least surrounding her. Complete strangers in her brain. She's overloaded by the stimuli of, oh, I have things on my arms. I'm being forced into this car that I've never been in, being talked down to by these cops or strange figures that I have no fucking idea what they want. And all she wants is her father. That's all she wants. And the cop with the body cam on is getting incredibly impatient with a child. So hold on. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 officers. Six. There's 6 officers there. 6 of them. For a child. Like, at some point, you knew it was a child, and apparently they had this crisis response team in place. Why not call them? Clearly, the rules of the law were not in her favor. And so, what do? You pepper spray her. Then this guy's just like pulling and tugging on her to move back. Then he grabs pepper spray. Like, come on. Like, that's just absolutely uncalled for. All of this is uncalled for. You got traffic going up and down, seeing you being this violent towards a child. Hold on. Let me go back a second here. She's face up near. Yeah. Yeah. You can't see her face, but she is face down, or at least face on the side in the snow. Like, come on. You really couldn't handle that any better? What is the worst she's doing right now other than yelling? Oh my god, she wants her dad. I mean, this is a type of situation where people are like, we really need to rethink how we police in this country. And clearly, I mean, what? Do we have to continue to say the status quo and see this shit happen more and more? Did no one learn from the protests that have been going on for months straight? Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, what you see here is absolutely uncalled for. What they did to this child was absolutely uncalled for. And honestly, I hope all the people involved get fired. And I know that's harsh, but they handled that in the worst way possible. Like, they never thought to think, what is a child really thinking? And you hear her over and over and over again just asking for her father. I bet I mean, once you had her handcuffed, which honestly I think is a little extreme, but at least if you have her in handcuffs, fine. Let her stand there, let her be angry. She'll calm down eventually, call her father. Work with her. If you work with her, she works with you. All she sees is a bunch of big strangers coming up trying to subdue her and trying to hurt her. She's intimidated at this point. She doesn't know what else to do. So she's in fight or flight mode. And so her brain is just saying fight, 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 because she doesn't know what else to do. Like, she can't necessarily communicate what she really feels at this point, given where she is, but it's like, how can you defend what these cops did? How? I mean, I just I don't know. What these cops did was absolutely wrong. At minimum, they should never be able to drive on the streets again. I personally think that any officer that laid a hand on this child should be fired. And what's worse about all of this, is that the child is going to be severely traumatized. She will never see police in the same way again. Ever. She will never trust the police. Ever. This is going to be forever etched in her brain, thinking, oh shit, if I did this, I don't know what else they could have done to me. Like, I mean, you see that this is. You hear her going, are you done? Are you done? No, she's not done. You're not helping her. Now she's face down in the snow. Fucking help her. I'm serious. All I'm seeing right now is the cops are thinking this is another criminal that could cause complete other devastation if we don't subdue her, put her in handcuffs, force her in the car. Oh, she's not cooperating? Let's spray her. Honestly, the handcuffs should have been a last resort. But what do I know? I'm not an officer. And clearly none of these officers were parents. None of them. Because if they were, they wouldn't have treated that child the way the way that they did. None of the woman that was sitting her in the car is not a mother. Not a single one of those guys are a father. And if they are, my God, if that's how you treat someone else's 9-year-old, I hate to think how you treat your own children. Like, I don't know how one defends something like this that's happening to this child. She doesn't know any better. I mean, yeah, she's matured enough to know right from wrong, but at the same time is not fully matured, you know? Like she's not I what we saw here is a miscarriage of justice, and I hope that the officers involved in this are fired to set an example that this shit is no longer acceptable. But you know what? Someone's going to look at this and tell me, you know what? You don't know what you're talking about. The police were doing the best that they could with what they had. They're not equipped to train to do this type of stuff. I know. What do you think we've been trying to convey here over the past X amount of months? If there was ever a reason for defunding the police, this shit right here is exactly why. This shit right here is why people are saying defund the police. Oh, well, there's a bunch of bad apples. No, it's a lot of bad training. These cops need to be retrained. All of them. They're clearly not qualified to handle a situation with a child. Not a single one of them. And they should all be fired. And I know that sounds harsh, especially right now during a pandemic, but if you don't set an example, nothing changes. And honestly, if they do nothing to these officers, you're basically setting an example that this shit is 100% acceptable and any cop across the country can do it. If you do nothing, you're complacent with these cops. I don't give a shit if they have a union. The unions are not obviously looking in the best interest of the person, the child, that's being tackled down in the snow. Like, no child should ever have to go through something like this. You know? She was speaking up. She wanted something to happen. I can almost guarantee you if she had her father there, she would have calmed down. But they didn't listen. She wasn't asking for $1 million. She wasn't asking for hostages. She wasn't asking for meth or crack or weed or whatever. She wasn't asking for a beer. She didn't want to drive off into the sunset. She wanted her father because she wanted someone to comfort her. She needed someone to help her. And don't feed me this bullshit excuse of, oh well, the cops were trying to send her to the hospital to help her out. No, what you do is get a mental health professional out there. That's what you do. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But damn, man. Like, at what point do you think that any of this shit is acceptable? Because it isn't. None of this shit is acceptable. I hope that child has the best life possible. I hope she gets the counseling she clearly needs, and I hope that things turn out better for her. As far as the officers are concerned, the minimum they should get is their asses fired, and they should never be able to work in law enforcement again. Because this is unacceptable. Anyway, that's it for me. I was gonna play Call of Duty, but I got so wrapped up in this. So I will see y'all later. Tell me what you think in the comments.